Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another installment of Life Stories. My name is Trent and I hope you guys are doing awesome as always. Today we got some stories coming right at you from Reddit/entitledparents. So without further ado, let's get it started. Our first story of the day is titled, Entitled Grandma Threatens to Bomb the Charity Because I Got the Last Free Mask. Well, this is crazy. Never imagined I'd be making a post on here. Our cast is E.G., entitled Grandma, and N.G., nice grandson. I feel so bad because he has to put up with E.G.'s clownery. And the vendor, the really kind person who was handing the masks out. Before I start, the queue was pretty big. 70 to 80 people were queued up to get masks. I got there pretty late. Behind me was E.G. and N.G. E.G. was yapping and moaning on about the queue. The free masks vendor was a small charity, since our area is pretty poor and full of elderly people. E.G. says, "Excuse me." She tapped my shoulder, literally breaking social distancing rules, pissing me off a little. "Yeah, also, can you not touch me?" E.G. snickered and replied, "Could we go in front of—" N.G. cuts her off. "No, Grandma, we can wait." E.G. slapped N.G. on the head and shouted, "Shut up, you naive kid!" She got a few looks and points from people. I replied instantaneously, "No, wait in line like everyone else." E.G. huffed. "Fine." She huffed for the next 5 minutes, just like a teenager. Honestly, I think she was doing 3 to 4 huffs each minute. The huffing continued. I was at the front of the queue. E.G. realized there were only 2 masks left. As the vendor gave me the last 2, which were for me and my mother, E.G. screamed, "You piece of crap, you only needed 1!" The vendor signaled me to move out of the way. The vendor says, "Ma'am, it's a maximum of 3 masks per person." E.G. sighed in relief, cutting him off. "Well, stop standing there and give me 6. 3 for me, 3 for—" N.G. chimes in. "I only need 1, Grandma. They're reusable." Cutting him off, E.G. slapped N.G. again. E.G. was about to say something to N.G. as I stood there in awe, waiting for crap to go down. The vendor said, "Sorry, ma'am. We have no masks left." He then raised his voice to address the crowd. "Sorry, everyone. We've run out of masks. Come back later and we will probably have some more." E.G. started to charge at me, pushed me over, and screamed like a 3-year-old. "You piece of crap, give me those masks!" Someone, I don't know who, clearly had called the police. As E.G. tried to wrestle the masks out of my hands, the vendor pushed her away. While the vendor was arguing with E.G., the police were on their way. As soon as the police arrived, E.G.'s face dropped. I should have recorded it and popped it on r/watch people die inside, because holy crap, it was the best reaction I've ever seen. N.G. stayed with the vendor and called his parents. I gave a small statement to the police while trying to block out E.G.'s "I'm gonna bomb your charity" and other expletives, along the lines of that. About half an hour later, E.G. was let go. First thing she said to the vendor was, "I'm gonna bomb your freaking charity and call the freaking Spanish Mafia on you." Lady, you're in England, not Spain, moron. N.G.'s parents came, and E.G. forgot about N.G. and just left without him. Pretty crap grandparent, am I right? Anyways, I checked if the vendor and N.G. were okay, then left to go back home. I told my mother, and she just laughed her butt off. My brother told me to post it here, since we usually read stories off of here. Well, I'm glad it was resolved as fast as it possibly could have been. Bomb threats are no laughing matter. Ugh, this virus really is bringing out the worst in people. Moving along, our next story is titled, "My Friend's Parent Made Me Pay for His Ticket." So this only happened 2 days ago, and it still shocks me that it happened at all. It involves me, my friend, and his entitled dad, E.D. So, my friend, we will call Simon, is a nice enough guy. We hang out often enough, and I know a few of his family members, even if I don't really care for them. We get along well enough, I thought. I can't drive, so he, being my friend, often offers to help me out, and I pay him for gas and ice cream or food each time. Also, I know he's super tight for money right now and struggles to work enough hours, so in exchange for him driving me around when I need and he's available, I pay him $400 a month to help me out like another unofficial job. So, one day, we were hanging out and he was helping me get around town to run errands at the cost of gas. We went shopping, goofed around and perused Barnes & Noble, and planned to go get a treat on my dollar when we got interrupted by his ED calling and screaming at him in the middle of the store, demanding he come home across town to do dishes when he knew he was with me, and demanded we both go to his house. We did, and spent an hour with his ED yelling at him, and him being nice to me, so I could be, in his words, the good influence his son needs, and give him advice to get his act together. Honestly, it made me super uncomfortable, as I have a bad history with aggressive males, and had to fight a PTSD panic attack a lot of the while there. And near the end, he asked if I had money. I explain I do, but not much I can spare right now. I had $200 on me in cash for savings I explained earlier I was going to use to escape a bad and abusive situation in a few months, and something he was already aware of. I explained I didn't mind dipping in a little, thinking 10 or 20 bucks to go out to eat, as we had in the past with him and my friend. Nope, he wanted me to buy him beer for distracting his son from school and chores I didn't know about, as I owed that. Being the meek girl I am, I went out and got it and brought it back, and we went on our merry way, with me annoyed, but brushing it off, just thinking I won't come back again. So, moving on later, I needed quarters for laundry, as it was the last errand, and both of us being military dependents, decided to go on base and get some at the closest bank. However, we quickly were stopped at the gate for a random vehicle check. Okay, not a big deal, at least until I found out my friend lied to me about having a license and having car insurance in general, which he then lied about having, but not having on him super obviously to the military police. To give them credit, they were super nice about it all, but gave him a ticket and fine for driving with no license. That's reasonable. Obviously, we then got stranded. I'm upset with him, especially as I was sort of paying for a job that was entirely based on driving under the reasonable assumption he was legally able to do so, but figured it wasn't a big deal, and I'm going with him to the DMV tomorrow to get his license he said he had in the first place, and admitted to being too lazy to get. So, here is where the ED comes in again, and goes too far. So, being stranded, and my family all being busy that day, he calls up his ED. I offer to pay $20 to Uber him up to help us get the car, and us, so it doesn't need to be towed. It makes me chip in a lot more than I wanted or planned, and puts me in an even more tight position, but livable. And my friend promised to pay me back the next time he saw me. Okay, whatever. So ED shows up, and we leave to get my quarters, and his dad, seeing the money I pull out to change into quarters, my 200 was folded up 20s and 10s in my wallet, and I had to pull them out to get one. His dad then starts trying to blame me for forcing his son to go on base, as his son is freaking out, saying it was his fault and how he wants me to pay his $100 fine, as it was my fault he went on base as I needed quarters. I can't afford that. This money is literally meant to help me out of abuse in a few months, and he knows that, but I'm in a car with him and just saw him beat his son earlier while yelling at him. I'm freaking out inside. I can't afford this, but I need to go home safely and hopefully without having a panic attack. Finally, I talk him down to paying half, and pull out and pay $50. My friend didn't really even do anything. He just said thank you as his dad dropped me off at my home. I texted him later, angry and crying I couldn't afford that, and he knew it. I can't really afford to fight with him. I paid in advance for driving me around, and it saved me tons of money on Uber. Dumb, I know. So he could turn around and screw me over worse. I'm just so mad. How can a parent just expect me to do something like that, knowing my situation and how I was lied to? I can't even hold it against them with fear of losing my money with my friend and the rides I paid him for these next 2 weeks. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything, and I honestly give terrible advice, but OP, it sounds like neither of them are giving you the respect you deserve, especially given how much you've been giving to your friend. Maybe you should reevaluate who you're hanging out with. Of course, I know it's never that easy, but just a thought. Anyways, with that out of the way, we have run out of time for today's episode of Life Stories, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and hope you guys are staying safe during these crazy turbulent times. You know how this goes, though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Reddit content coming your way that we got cooking up, and I hope to see you guys soon.